I thought you were going to do like a Garrett announcement. Attention, Cloud9 shoppers. Something witty.
Something witty.
That's why
That's it. That's the intro. Hey everyone, welcome back to TV Guys, the show that's number one. And if you don't like it, you can go kick a cow. I'm Matt.
I'm Brian.
I'm Sabrina.
And I didn't commit fully to my Glenn impersonation, but I just wanted you to get the gist of it. You know, just a little flavor of it there, right?
Yeah. I might do it later, but I feel like I've been doing voices a lot lately.
Every time, mock them.
Well, even if it's really good, when you do a voice, you're opening yourself up to being mocked.
And also, how good can it come across over Zoom call? So, you know.
Yeah, but I think mine are equally bad in person.
That's fair. If anything, this makes it better, okay?
Yeah, I'm not going to blame the Zoom, not even or the StreamYard, because technically we switched to StreamYard like a year ago.
Yeah, but I figured Zoom makes more sense because people know that.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry I lied to you guys. I just didn't think you all were up to date with StreamYard, familiar with that. So
Matt thinks that you all have the intelligence of the average Cloud9 shopper.
That's true. I do. I figure that you have the tech skills of Garrett.
Yeah, does Garrett have tech skills?
Not
That's
really.
a very specific. In the final season, there's an episode where it's the returns one where Zephyr opens up the returns to like any of their parent company stores, and so when he's trying to make these returns, then it's like, oh wow, I always figured you were tech savvy, and like that's the reason why he can't do it, and not because it's an absurd request in the first place.
Yeah, Garrett doesn't like to try, but he likes to believe that he's amazing at everything. He just doesn't choose to try.
Yes. All right. Well, hey, before we get further into this, so just backing up just a couple maybe not a couple episodes, because this was back earlier this year. We did an episode about how TV handled COVID and the TV seasons. And I had remembered, and we talked about it in that season or in that episode, we had talked to that Superstore did a COVID season, but neither of us had seen it yet. I just had seen people's responses to it. And there was a lot of positive, like whenever this topic comes up, like, oh man, I hate when TV shows try to tackle that and it just comes off clumsy now, except Superstore actually did a good job. And I'm going to say, yeah, I agree with that. Mm-hmm. But I think that conversation is kind of what sparked us a little bit of like, why haven't we done a Superstore episode yet? We should do a Superstore episode. So here we are 6 months later covering it.
You know, Matt, I believe, if I'm not correct, it was one of our very first couple episodes, episode like 1, 2, or 3 of ever doing this podcast. I talked about Superstore as an ensemble show that I really liked, and you hadn't seen it at that point. So at that point, because I was when it was airing, and I was watching it. So it's funny, like back then, you were like, you had nothing to say because you hadn't watched it. Just like there's also early episodes where like I hadn't watched Stranger Things, and you were going on about Stranger Things, and I'm like, cool.
Yeah, I think I saw my first episode of Superstore about a year ago. So I'm not going to remember a ton of stuff from season 1 because I just kind of made sure I got all caught up and watched everything. And I just finished the final episode today. And so I have a lot more to say about the last like 3 seasons versus the first 2 or 3. I can't remember how many seasons we hit of this show.
Well,
was it 5?
6.
6. Okay.
The show is both like episodic and serialized because like there's ongoing storylines with all the love connections and like the Sandra Carroll and everything and who happens to be the manager at the moment. But there's also like you could watch any individual episode and watch them goof around and watch all the customers be idiots and have fun, even if you and you can kind of like pick up by context clues. So it's like it's not completely episodic, where they can be mixed up, but it has kind of that episodic nature too.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we get into like talking about the actual mainstays of this show, I feel like there's a lot of good stuff this show does. But weirdly enough, one of the best things is just completely episodic. It's like Vines. They do like 3 times an episode. They do these little interstitch cuts of some ridiculous behavior happening in the store. And it's just like a 10-second little gag or 5-second gag. And they have about 3 of those per episode. And what is so great about those is that it's stuff that you almost feel like some writer had seen that happen at a Walmart. Because, like, it's absurd. But at the same time, knowing how people are, it's not so absurd to say, no, this couldn't ever happen.
Some are the ones that involve people taking their pants off or like using the bathroom in the store are a little extreme, but a lot of them you could actually see happening. Like for work, I'm in grocery stores every day, and I see people with pets in the stores every day that aren't technically supposed to have them.
Yep.
I see kids running amok through the stores playing tag. Like that stuff really happens.
I think there's one customer that they actually had come back a number of times for these little in-betweens. It's the trash thrower away guy, where he just turns anything in the store into trash. So like some Halloween display, he throws it in the cauldron. Some little like a hoop thing for March Madness or whatever, he throws it through there. Like that's where the trash, like just no reckless abandon for, I'm done with this. I'm going to throw it in the nearest hole I can find. Whether or not that's a trash can, I don't care. It's going in there.
Exactly. And then that is something I could absolutely see happening.
Yeah. So to me, this is what makes this show so well done and so stand out, is because it's definitely an exaggerated form of this kind of stupidity, but it's based on some very real, terrible human interactions that for sure happen. It's that one old website, the People of Walmart, like that whatever Facebook group, like done as a full show through storylines and narratives.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's not just Walmart, but Walmart is the biggest offender of it.
Yeah. Like, sure, you'll get crap at Target, but I mean, honestly, it's kind of like Carnival Cruise Lines. Like, whenever you see a video of like something bad happening on a cruise line, you're like, this is Carnival, isn't it? And sometimes it's not, to their credit, but a lot of times people getting kicked off boats, like, oh, nope, that's Carnival. Yep. Oh, they're getting in a fight at the casino. Yep, that's Carnival.
This kind of get classified as that.
So, Matt, as a Disney parks guy, would that version be like Six Flags is the Walmart of the parks world?
Six Flags is absolutely a lot more that way than Disney, for sure. I don't know if that is the de facto go-to for theme parks, because like there's some really janky theme parks that are, but they're all going to be like local ones that aren't owned by some banner parent company.
I'm thinking like a chain, like a well-known chain. You think of Disney, Universal, and Six Flags are the ones that come to mind. And out of those three, I think it'd be Six Flags.
Yes. Yeah, Six Flags is definitely the lower quality one.
Probably because it's the most easily affordable.
There was a guy who was covering, there's a Six Flags who just closed in Texas. I think it was Six Flags Over Texas. And they closed within the last month of recording this, sometime in August. And some guy went there and he's recording and he's like, I just wanted to kind of document like this dying park. They've announced that it's closing, but it still has a couple weeks until it's closed. And so like no one's there, and he's filming and he was getting close to like one of these roller coasters. I was filming like at the back of the park, and some guy comes up to him and is like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't be filming a ride if it's closed. And he's like, why? I'm not in a part of the park that I shouldn't be. And the guy had no good excuse. He's like, you're just not supposed to. And it's like, that's such a baffling staff interaction. Like, hey, we just don't want you filming it because you can't do that. It's fine. And like, really, really just kind of, I'm doing this because someone told me to do it, and you're not allowed to.
And bringing it back, those are definitely the spirit of a lot of these interactions you see in Superstore.
Yeah. And that's why I think that I kind of wanted to save our COVID talk, but maybe we're already here a little bit. That's why, to me, that COVID season stood out so much, is because it was finally something like some of these other shows, they really got serious about it. And there's a few serious moments. Like there was some of the stuff that Garrett was going through with the Black Lives Matter, everything in that season. And so he kind of was the lightning piece for lightning rod for one of those episodes. So it let him have his seriousness, but a lot of it was just kind of mocking the ridiculousness of people and the mob mentality and the crowd. We understand that all of these rules don't make sense, but here's what the rules are, and we're just trying to figure it out. And it was a really good time capsule of letting us laugh at the sillier side of all the restrictions and all the stuff we had to do versus like the tragic side of it. And they hit a line that they didn't go too far on either side, in either direction, to be like, okay, now you're just reminding us of stuff we don't need to be reminded of, or hey, you're making too much light of something that was really a serious thing.
Yeah, kind of like there's a moment where we just watched some clips, and Jonah's giving an interview, and he's trying not to talk about the feet, and he goes onto this raid talking about like, yeah, and you guys get to be home, and not interact with the world except for when you come here to cough. And it's like, that's a joke, but it's in the middle of his serious rant about how they're like putting themselves on the line so that everyone else doesn't have to.
Yeah. And when they first are called like heroes, and Glenn and Dean are like, we're heroes. And then like, and when he's pointing someone to, that aisle has whatever you're asking for. No need to call us heroes. We're not just here. We're not heroes. We're just your normal people, but you can call us a hero if you want, sort of idea.
And they're definitely the two that would get caught up in that.
For sure. They're so proud of themselves too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's talk about some of these characters, because there's a lot of characters in here. We can just start with like our mainstays. The anchor of the show probably has to be Amy in terms of sanity. Sure, she has some stuff where she gets flustered and she really handles things poorly at sometimes, but she is the most regular person that there is on this show, the most normal person there is. So there's a lot of everything happens to her as she just tries to make sense of the insanity.
Yeah.
And usually that character kind of sucks, to be honest. Like, Ted Mosby, I think, is one. I mean, he's got his own neuroses sort of stuff, but like Ted is kind of like trying to be the normal guy, and everyone else has their quirk, and he's just like this is the normal person, and it just doesn't work for him, you know?
Yeah, it works because Amy, she genuinely likes these characters, so it's not always like she's rolling her eyes at them. She's trying to reel them in and give them like steer them on the right path. And it's just like those meetings in the back are it's like the conference room meetings in the office where it's like it just is going to go off the rails from somebody saying something, and she's like the audience surrogate. She says what we're thinking is the audience is kind of the onus of it.
Yeah. She's trying to contain all the chaos of what everything's happening in the store.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you partner her with Jonah, because Jonah also has a lot of emotional intelligence, but he obviously has his flaws and his drawbacks as well. And what works well for both of them is that they can kind of have this grounded in reality for the most part, but then they'll give like out one of these lines, like Jonah, especially like the social justice warrior type of character. He'll give out one of these very progressive lines or whatever, like, oh, I'm a feminist, like, but then people can quickly poke holes in it with absurdity, and maybe their points are purposely misleading, but enough so to get them frustrated and to get them flustered. And so we see a lot of the humor in like, obviously no one is going to think the way that Marcus and Justine and all these crazy people are thinking, but then they bring their perspective into it. Like, how in the world would any sane person make sense of the madness of what's going on? So they just get really caught up in trying to say the right thing, politically correct, etc., but it just comes out terribly.
Well, it's like, so what do you say all the time when we're watching the show and Jonah starts talking?
I'd be like, just shut up. You need to stop speaking because you're just going to make things worse.
You're just... Jonah gets in an awkward situation, and every time he opens his mouth, he makes it more awkward.
Way worse.
Yeah.
To to be.
Like, it seems like that's why every time she like covers her face, just stop talking.
Like, you don't need to continue. We've made your point. Move on.
I think one thing I really appreciate about it is that he's trying to be considerate, and he's trying to be that side of like, look at how inclusive I am and all those sorts of things. But it's also kind of called out for like well, do you really actually live your life by these like really good sounding sound bites, you know? Like when you say these things like, this is who I am, like, well then how about this? This doesn't line up. Like again, in the recent season, the feminist, and like he got a picture when he was at Hooters like 6 years ago. And so, you know, you're like, there's nothing wrong with that well, theoretically there's nothing wrong with that. But then they're like mocking it and they're picking it apart, and then finally get to the part where like, well, I don't even like Hooters. I got a caprese salad. Do they make caprese salads? They made it special for me. It's like that's worse than everything else that you said.
The fact that was his go-to example, like you know it's true, because that would be a worse lie than the truth.
He just needs to be included in every conversation.
He really does.
He has to put in some way or form.
Yeah, so this show does such a good job of capturing kind of that human condition for all of us, of like the hypocrisy of this is how I live my life, but then you see like that they make all these exceptions for themselves. Like Mateo has that a number, and I wish I had specific examples. I'm sorry, it's fell out of my brain. I should have written notes. But like Mateo will have that a couple times where it's like, this is the wrong thing to, don't act like this, and then he goes back and he doesn't. Like he's clearly, you know, just trying to angle to get ahead at work and to be the one who is like the most important and the one that people like the most and all that, like the accolades sort of stuff. And like you see that with all these different characters, they have their own thing that like Garrett, oh, I don't care about stuff, but then you get him flustered about something and he ends up showing how much he does care about it. And then it's just really fun to see how this show can poke holes in every single character's belief system, so to speak.
Yeah. I think the one that the character that gets away with it most is Glenn, because Glenn is like the, you know, the stereotypical.
Thinks he's morally sound about everything, and
yeah. But the thing is that, but Glenn is dumb, and so he gets away with it because it's not him being mean; it's because he's so dumb. He's like, yeah. Did you know that like the exact amount of money I had is what Pastor Jeff needed for the super church, whatever thing. It's like they. Glenn is involved with a very bad church, but he doesn't realize it.
Yeah, steals all his money and just lets them, gives it to him.
Yeah. And if Glenn was knowingly doing what he was doing and saying what he was saying, that's what makes him lovable, is that he's just like, oh, he's like a child.
What was the line he said to Mateo where like he's like, not all Christians are bigots and racists. Like I hate being pigeonholed into that. Do you have any idea how hard that is to be like pigeonholed against, or whatever phrasing he used? Yeah. Like he's saying this to the gay guy. Like, you have an idea the sort of oppression I've had to go through.
Mateo just looks at him like,
yeah.
Oh, this logged me out. Sorry. It logged me out of my notes. I was following. So, who's the next on our list for characters?
We've kind of breezed through Mateo and Garrett, which I don't think there's a ton to talk about. But what about Dina? I think we can just stop down on Dina for a bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dina is kind of like female Dwight in some 100%. Ways. Yeah. Like, Dwight wouldn't be so much with the birds, but like the overarching confidence and like you question their authority, they're going to double down. That's Dina to a T.
Yeah, and the social ineptitude a little bit. She has a little bit of it, but I mean, so did Dwight too. It was just, for the most part, its work comes above the social responsibilities, and that type A personality of like, these are the rules and I have to stick by these rules, and these are the rules that we have to follow, and rules are our friend and keep us all connected, as Chandler said, and of course the thing holding us all together, the rules.
Yeah.
And so she was the one that felt the most like it's hard not to compare shows like Superstore to other very popular sitcom comedies of modern day. And so there is going to be the comparisons, especially because of Justin, what's his name? Spitzer, thank you. Having the shared connection between the two. And so this is the most egregious character lifting from The Office to Superstore. There's not really too many that are like, it's so very similar to the characters from that show, but we for sure get that Dwight character in Dina.
You have there's some of Michael and Glenn, there's some of Jim and Jonah, but it's the overlap is the biggest with Dina and Dwight for sure. But one thing I liked is that she showed to the rules and everything, but still, when they're doing the ice raid, she was fully on board with helping Mateo and like running it from the cameras, like turn here. Like, I'm not sure if Dwight would have done that.
No, Dwight would be calling ice on people. But at the same time, The Office was a different time where there wasn't the same sensitivities to having a character that would do that on TV. Yeah. And so, because I think actually Dwight, like when he picks up Nate and he meets Nate for the first time, he picks him up from like a group of undocumenteds. And every single time that someone would get in his truck to go with him or whatever car he had, that he would drop them off at a border or ICE or some sort of enforcement for immortality is not immigration. That's the word. I don't know how you enforce immortality, but I'm sure someone's on it.
I swear Matt does know the difference between immigrants and immortality.
Huge difference.
Wait, there's a difference?
No, there's not.
Yeah, I've been all about border control because I'm like, I don't want immortal people coming into our country. They're never going to die. Overpopulation is a real thing, people.
You almost, without trying, went into a Glenn voice just then.
Yeah, it went high up.
Correct, that was without trying. I just apparently naturally just gravitate to Glenn. His voice was a little hard to get into at first. Yeah. I was like, I know that it's purposefully supposed to be an annoying Muppet voice. But, like, I was like, this poor actor, is this the way he talks? And then you hear him talk in real life. I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank God this is a character.
I wonder if that's hard on his like, voice and his throat to constantly do that.
I easily could see it being that way,
We haven't talked to, so this is interesting. So, halfway through the show, I realized, so Sabrina's daughter, Anna, looks like a child version of Cheyenne.
I don't think that's a compliment. But...
Well, I'm not saying personality-wise. I'm just saying looks-wise.
We're not going to let her listen to this episode. She doesn't need that self-confidence knock of Brian tearing her down.
As long as she doesn't marry a beau, we're good.
Oh, please, no.
He's got multitudes, yo.
He is... no.
I like Cheyenne's arc though because she does like become the floor supervisor. She does have some growth. She never loses her like personality, but she
kind of grows up though.
She does grow up and become more mature over time.
Yeah, and I am glad that they started utilizing less Bo. Like the first season, there's a lot more Bo. He's a little of him goes a long way.
Yeah. I love when they don't use him too much though, because I remember at the ice raids, Bo was there, and he's talking to the security guard, like, "Hey man, I bet have you ever had like, you're in love with someone who's illegal, and you have to choose between love and your country? Have you ever had that?" Hasn't come up. Yeah, but you're a love guy, and it's like this whole like ridiculous conversation.
He's a distraction. He is a distraction.
Apparently, the actor, I believe, was born in Rochester, Minnesota. So Minnesota tonight.
So that's who we get to claim, Bo.
Oh,
that's the one. You get Bo, man.
Yikes!
Not me. You get him.
Oh, are you still claiming Nebraska?
when it comes to having something in common with Bo, yes.
I think it goes to how. Okay, have you reached the point where you've lived more years in Minnesota than Nebraska yet?
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
then I'd say you're Minnesota on this end.
don't you do that to me. I will claim what I want to claim when I claim it.
And then the last of the main characters is Sandra, who's an interesting character.
I love Sandra, though. She starts off so mild and meek.
Well, it's like she's mild and meek, and then like for whatever reason, sometimes she'll get activated and she'll like go into like it's like Shirley from Community, where she has the sweet voice and the I'm gonna kill you voice, but she's got that. And the weirdest things set her off. Like whenever she gets attention, she just eats that up. But then also like Dina can walk all over her all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I mean, it really Dina, Carol, a random customer, anyone can honestly walk all over her at any time. She gets a little bit more of a backbone when she finally is with Jerry. For good after the coin flip, which all right.
And it is hilarious yet super cringy, the scene when she ends up telling about her talking about her sex life to Glenn.
And Glenn's just listening like, oh my god, how do I get out of this situation?
She's like, yeah, Jerry will be doing the dishes and I'll tell him you forgot one dish and it's super dirty. And we're like, what is happening here? And it's super awkward, but somehow it's hilarious because it's Sandra.
And Glenn.
So what do you think is your favorite pairing? I know we've got some like background characters we didn't really bring up a ton. I actually like Marcus a lot more than I thought I was going to. Because he plays dope really well.
Exactly. I think that's it, because he could easily be
he's lovable.
Yeah, he could easily be like the jerk, like the Roy in The Office, but he's well-meaning and dumb, kind of like Glenn.
Yeah, I think early on he's a little less well-meaning, but then I think they just make him more pitiful, and so that when he says things that are definitely racist or sexist or wrong or just flat out creepy, you don't hold it as much against him because he's a man-child.
Yeah,
it has a sad life.
It's like I don't think you understand. I want to make cheese from breast milk from humans.
Oh geez, that whole thing.
Oh no. Only he could think of something like this, though. Like, whose brain works that way?
Yeah.
What was it? So we can eat a cow, but we can't drink milk from it. So Garrett, what you're saying is if we ate a woman, we could drink her milk. Is that what you're saying, Garrett? Geez, Garrett, you crossed a line on that.
Speaking of Garrett, I think to answer your question, my favorite pairing, I like Jonah and Garrett as a third pairing.
Because Garrett's really good at pushing Jonah's buttons, and I always like to see that pranky side, because Garrett is really sarcastic and really, like, he's that guy that's kind of effortlessly cool, even though he works at like the most lame job that there is. But he toys with the insecurities of Jonah super well, and it's always fun to see, because Jonah has a little bit of that, like, he's that punchable face sort of guy. No offense to the actor, but he there's just that he's good as a character, but I would not like to be friends with someone like Jonah.
Yeah.
So he deserves a bit of that coming his way.
He does, and they give us just enough of earnesty from Garrett to know that he actually is friends with Jonah. It's not like Jonah's all about him and Garrett's like, get away from me. Like when he and Jonah and Amy broke up, Garrett says something like, yeah, you want me to trash talk her, man? And like, it was kind of like a jokey way, but you know that it was his way of saying like, I'm there for you. And they give us just enough earnesty from Garrett so that it doesn't cross into that territory without being Garrett's never going to be the sappy one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, he does have a moment when he thinks that Jonah's going to leave, and Jonah initiates it. He's like, hey, before I go, man, I just want to say I really appreciate your friendship. And then I was like, I know, it's really not cool. You're going to say something funny back or whatever. And then Garrett's like, no, I'm going to really miss you too. I've really appreciated being your friend. And then Joe's like, you almost got me. And like, it just keeps going on with that. Like, Garrett's trying to, for sure, like, no, I'm going to miss you. I'm glad we're friends. Like, oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Almost fell for it.
Yeah. So what's your favorite pairing?
Honestly, I like Cheyenne and Mateo. They're just their drama between the two of them and how they kind of grow as friends. And they're always just behind the scenes, just stirring the pot.
Yeah, that's a good pairing too. Cheyenne has the best back and forth with Mateo. I don't think that there is nearly as funny as with anyone else that Cheyenne's with. Mateo kind of has good energy with everyone. There's a lot of really good stuff that he has with all of them, but some of Cheyenne's better moments are her and Mateo.
Yep.
No offense to her. It's just, I don't know why it just works really well, that pairing.
Yeah. How about you, Matt?
That's hard because I would have said Glenn and Jonah, not Glenn, Garrett and Jonah as well. But since you said it, I want to come up with another one.
I hope you put my backup because then I don't have to.
Glenn's good. Glenn's a good floater though. It's like there's not like a pairing that Glenn has that's like better than any other one. Like Glenn with someone else is just really good. So it's usually like Glenn and one of the more level-headed people. Because when Glenn has to be the safety net and has to be the more calm one or whatever, it doesn't work as well. But when Glenn is free to be the ridiculous, crazy side of him, it works great. So like Glenn and Jonah or Glenn and Amy, when you just have those two characters in the juxtaposition of like, no, this is how normal people behave. And then Glenn does his weird, crazy, paranoid, whatever side of him that he has.
Yeah.
The only difference is when it's Glenn and Dina. Glenn and Dina have a good relationship, and they're both crazy.
That's my one. Because they're both crazy. A lot of times Dina is the sane one with Glenn, but there's moments like when the competing store closes down, and they have like we did it. Like they have a reluctant friendship as much as Dina doesn't want to admit it. They really do.
Yeah.
But like another moment. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're in each other's corner, but wouldn't dare do things the same way as the other one. They don't always see the other person's value, but they do respect the hustle, I guess you can say. They know that they can count on them to do what they do and work hard, you know.
Exactly. Almost to a fault, like when the store is flooding and Glenn laid down on the floor to try to block it. And then it's like the new corporate guy. Like, where's your manager? And Glenn comes out completely soaked. Like, oh, I think there's a spill somewhere.
That was Jeff. And Jeff, what did you do? And Jeff's like, I hate this store.
And by the way, Jeff is the Toby.
Oh, for sure.
There's some. He starts off as the Toby, where he's more of a flat character, and then we see his just desperate need for attention because or for affection. He very clearly has nothing else in his life, and it's so alienating how much he wants to be friends with other people.
Mm-hmm. And then just a flyby, I liked Myrtle. I mean, obviously Myrtle passed away in real life halfway through the show.
Yeah.
But she was one of those characters that she could get away with saying everything, like
the most racist and controversial subjects ever.
Yeah, was you could give anything to Myrtle and she could get away with it.
But she's a sweet old lady who's very, very old. Everyone thought she was ancient.
I don't want to sell rice anymore. It doesn't taste like anything. And the Oriental. Wait, all right.
I could be wrong on this, but I think the last time you see Myrtle, not counting the hologram, which they keep after she died, but it was like a montage, and they have Myrtle trying to move like a washing machine, and she's like pushing it, and it's doing nothing. And I think that's the last time we see Myrtle in like the main timeline where it's not a flashback.
Yeah, I think you're right. Did she die shortly after that, or did she get like sick in real life, and that's why she was
I know,
out?
I know she died in real life. I don't know if it was sudden or if she got sick or if it was because she was older. I don't know. But
So we're about to get into talking about like storylines, and one of the big ones is Amy and Jonah. I know I'm
yeah.
segueing here, but the segue here is speaking of real life stuff. Did America Ferrera have to leave for a little bit to film Barbie? Is that what was going on? Why she was out for like 6 or 7 episodes in the final season?
I thought that she had no. I thought that she had like just completely left the show, and then when it was decided that it was going to be the ending, she came back for the finale. I think is what it was. I don't think they knew that it was going to be the final season, so I think she was going to be leaving, kind of like Steve Carell in The Office.
Oh.
Okay.
Because she wasn't even listed. Because I feel like if she was just gone temporarily, they would have kept her in the credits.
So I was looking at it, and it looks like there's a combination of 2 reasons. It sounds like one of them was she was working behind the camera on this other show, and so she was leaving to explore that. And then also that she was going to be like she just got pregnant or something like that. Either she got pregnant or that she was wanting to spend more time with family, because I kind of cite a family time thing as well as her going to this other opportunity. So it wasn't specifically Barbie. I thought those timelines like laid out. I thought that was right, but apparently I'm wrong. Can't believe it.
I like when Matt's wrong.
Well, a lot of people do, because it never happens. It's such a rare occurrence.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then smash cut to all the times I've been wrong on this show. All right, Brian, get to editing. Chop, chop.
If I had the time or like a list of everything you said that was wrong, I could throw that in there. Actually, wait a minute. There is
a list of wrongs. So that shows how much you love me. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I do have this moment.
I just want to let you know I screwed up. I completely messed up with the trivia question. My thing was which 2 actors from Parks and Rec and Stranger Things are related. And my answer was going to be Ben Schwartz, who plays John Ralphio, and all of a sudden I forgot his name, but the guy who plays Bobby in Stranger Things, the bully guy, and I should look that up real quick. They are not actually related. As much as they may look it, as much as they both have like that Italian demeanor and like the poofy hair, they are not actually related.
Remember that, Matt?
Wow, AI has come a long way. The robots are taking over!
Yeah. So Amy and Jonah, you kind of know from the start that it's going to be, it's set up just like all these other Ross and Rachel, Jim and Pam. There's that instant connection, and she's got a boyfriend. That's never been done on the show before.
Yeah.
And of course they have to establish that Adam was not her husband in the beginning of the show was not a bad guy, but like not the best husband and clearly not the best chemistry fit between them. So it's like, we see what they're doing, but it was kind of more of a, how long is it going to be?
Which it was a long time. Pretty much all the show except for the last season, last full season Amy was on.
Mm-hmm.
They even had them kiss in the tornado. Like,
and
no,
we're gonna
pull it back.
Just kidding. It's lazy, because it's just been done so much. And so like that's my biggest complaint with this show is that story. The will they won't they of Dina and Garrett is much better because we're not so emotionally invested in it. If they get together, fine. If they don't get together, also fine. And it's just good comedy for the both of them. But for such an emotional heartbeat to be on this relationship, I'm almost tired of like also when these will they won't they shows, because like, well, there's got to be a reason for them not to, so let's make one of them in a relationship, but the relationship's bad. And I'm like, do we really need that? Do we need that in every single comedy that we see? Can't it instead be something else? But until that something else comes, we're just gonna have the Ross and Rachels or the Sam and Dianes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which
Or the Wilma and Betty's. Wait.
Who?
Wilma, Betty, and Jughead.
No, from the Flintstones. What were you saying? I am never wrong.
Another example.
Hey Matt, remember this? So
Wilma and Betty's. Wait.
Who?
Wilma, Betty, and Jughead.
No, from the Flintstones.
No, I was saying we talked about next year, sometime around close to Valentine's Day, 2026. We talked about doing an episode about will they, won't they relationships.
Yeah, this would be one.
Well, this is one.
I gave you
Here it
that, and you said let's do it, so it's on our schedule.
I'm so excited about it. I'm definitely not going to be like questioning my life choices then.
We've done worse episodes.
I'm going to pick terrible will they, won't they relationships. Walter White and Jesse Pinkman. We're all waiting for it. I'm surprised they never pulled the trigger on it.
I think the worst one would be Ted and Robin.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Fred and Scooby-Doo.
Fred and Scooby-Doo. Interesting.
There's a lot of sexual tension there. I don't know if you notice.
I think you're the only one that has.
Man, this AI is getting worse all the time.
Anyways, another big ongoing storyline is like I kind of put battling with corporate / unionizing, which is takes different forms, but it's there's always something going on behind the scenes there.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting. I didn't like how quickly they dropped the union storyline. By the way, speaking of comparisons to The Office, here's another one, is the buying out of another company, and boom, suddenly all their problems are solved. So the whole Zephyr purchasing them and then dropping the union thing, I'm like, I get why that maybe they didn't feel like they could actually fully pull the trigger on them unionizing and making that work, and instead they just wanted to talk about it. But I thought that the whole union storyline was pretty solid up until that point.
Me too.
Yeah.
It all culminated in that meeting where Jonah and Sandra were meeting with Ian Gomez's character, and like, yep, okay, fine, whatever you want, because they're going to be bought out. And then they as soon as Zephyr takes over, like you said, it's kind of dropped.
Yeah, and then it becomes Jonah doesn't have a whole lot to do because he gets broken up with from Amy not too long after that, and then it's just like the show even like will kind of highlight like Jonah's kind of lost right now. He's kind of struggling all of the last season because his heart's broken, and that is a normal thing that would happen. That is absolutely what would be going on with Jonah, but he loses his agency because he's just kind of moping a little bit. He's in pain because he's just now back to being stuck there, and now he's stuck there without his best friend. Well, I mean, he's got Garrett, but he's his female best friend.
Mm-hmm.
His best lady friend.
Yeah.
Remember when they tried to make Dina and Jonah a thing in first season?
Yeah, that was really weird.
That went the way of like Charles and Rosa at the beginning of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. They're like,
right.
yeah, just let's try it out. Nope, this doesn't work.
And I think that maybe one of the ideas was, and this is a more modern term, with the punching down, like that it was kind of the punching down on Dina of the unrequited love. And like, we don't need to do that to Dina. We don't need to like mock her because of whatever. Like, we have a lot of other reasons to mock her. Let's have fun with those instead of kind of being mean about the Jonah's too good for you or whatever it was. And it actually kind of ends up being the opposite. There's a couple times she's like, I can't believe I ever was attracted to you.
Yeah. Well, and in the end, when Dina's going through the whole, she has a boyfriend, but Garrett's going to be her open relationship buddy. Mm-hmm. And Jonah is just trying to show his support and be a modern man. And she's like, oh, Jonah, I'm sorry. This isn't going to happen. And he's like, I wasn't trying to. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Doors are closed on this.
Also, never a storyline I thought would go on that show.
No.
But at the same time, I didn't expect the Dina surrogate baby storyline to either.
No, we can go into that one too.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
I mean, I was going to say, it happens on a lot of shows. I can really only think of Friends, but I'm sure it's happened in other shows too.
I was going to mention something. I just couldn't remember. It
Fuller
wasn't surrogate, but it was a little similar flavor as the Community pregnancy with
is it Chang's baby or not?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
That's right.
That wasn't surrogacy, but it still had the same feel. It was adjacent.
Yeah. By the way, I thought Fuller House definitely copied Friends because they did Kimmy Gibbler was carrying her brother's baby. It was exactly like it was the only thing is it wasn't triplets.
Yeah, and there's some the humor of that came more from Glenn than it did Dina, I felt like.
Yeah.
Glenn handled it just as awkwardly as you would anticipate for him to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be more like, I think it could have just been just as fun if Jerusha somehow was pregnant versus Dina, but I guess then it gave Dina more agency in that story. But I think that, like, looking at it, it's the same thing with going back to The Office now. The same thing where Pam and Angela got pregnant at the same time. We had Amy and Dina pregnant concurrently.
Yeah.
And I thought that they would do more with that relationship, and they didn't really do so much with the double pregnancies.
No.
Apart from the one episode where they both give birth.
Baby shower.
Yeah. But, you mentioned Jerusha. I'm glad they didn't have Jerusha be the one that's pregnant because, honestly, I thought Jerusha was better as, like, an off-screen mention. Like, I thought she would have been better.
Glenn would just talk about her.
Yeah, because she never really popped on screen, and she wasn't supposed to pop on screen, but...
Correct.
Yeah.
But, like, Glenn's mentionings of, oh, yeah, me and Jerusha are going to the farmer's market or whatever, like, that's more entertaining than seeing Jerusha, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Agreed.
Weirdly enough, now this wasn't a big arc. It was just more like something that happened and it just changed the character. But the adoption of their former son,
Tony
and Jerry, that actually ended up being hilarious. I didn't think it would be as funny as it was because it's a weird, awkward thing, but it somehow worked.
Yeah, it worked because. I mean, it worked because they committed to it. Even later on, like he's calling Sandra mom and acting like, "Mom, don't embarrass me." Like, you're what, a 25-year-old man? Like,
but that's just who Sandra is. She just accepts whatever you put on her. She'll just say yes.
What was the line where Garrett called it out? But it was something where like Sandra was talking about like, oh, this has never happened with so and so, and he's like, yeah, in your very recent time of adopting him, that's never happened, or something like that. Just calling out like how it's only been 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, for the whole time you've known each other, I met yesterday. Exactly.
All right. Speaking of Sandra, the Sandra versus Carol insanity. Yeah. This show, okay, so I talked about some lazy writing with the Amy and Jonah stuff, but then this show goes hard on some of the weird, absurd, where in the world does this come from? The Sandra versus Carol, that's just insanity. And I'm like, what is happening every time?
Yeah, the fact that Carol is allowed to be employed after the stuff she pulled is definitely, yeah, like unbelievable.
Yeah, that one that threw me off. Like once the wedding happened and then Carol still is around, I'm like, I know it's an absurd, ridiculous show, but that is the stretch for me of credulity.
Why would they keep her around?
Carol started out as more of like the Meredith, if it was the Office.
Yeah.
Remember, like, the second that she hears that Amy and Adam are having marital issues, she's calling Adam like, "Hey, Adam, this is Carol from the store. Just if you ever want to talk," like blatantly hitting, which is like that's a Meredith move.
Tries to get with any man.
But by the end, she doesn't really have a counterpart because no one in the office
likes her.
No, well, no one from the office goes that crazy. I don't even think Jan goes that crazy.
No. But also, no one goes as crazy as Sandra did in the freaking tornado, and Sandra's just like slowly closes the door and kills.
Yeah.
Attempted murder. That's, I mean, let's call it what it is. That's attempted murder.
Yeah.
And yet, we still love Sandra. I don't know why.
It's that TV thing where, like, it's okay to do horrible things if it's a character that we like, and to a character we don't like.
Then it's
To
okay.
be fair, I didn't like Sandra all that much back then, just because she was still that, like, bump on a log and the lying about her and Jeff and
That was annoying. That
sort of stuff.
Sandra's also the only character who started out as recurring and got added to the main cast.
Only one. Look at that. Sandra, you stepped up.
She started out as one of the Marcuses and Kellys of the world.
Mm-hmm. What about Justine?
What about
I
Justine?
forgot. Wouldn't she be grouped in that?
Oh yeah, and Justine, yep, one of those. Justine was just sad.
That's
She
right,
was
Mama.
so sad. She tried so hard.
Oh yeah, Mama. Oh my gosh, Justine would be horrible to work with.
She would be so annoying.
I mean, all of them would be, even the sane ones. Like, as much as I like Garrett, I think I also could get tired of, like, dude, can you do some work? Is that a possibility?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be really hard to work with.
I don't know who the easiest person to work with would be.
You'd want it to be Amy, but I mean, she's got her own stuff to it. But by default, it might be Amy.
Or Cheyenne. I feel like if you leave her alone, you don't.
True.
Let her do her stuff.
That's a good point. Cheyenne has an unearned amount of competency at her job.
Yeah. Oh, and I did love the part where the place gets taken over by teenagers, and then they're making fun of Cheyenne, and Cheyenne's like, "But I'm a cool person. I'm not one of these old people." And it's like, yeah, it comes for all of us.
Yep. Yep.
I was cool once. Okay, well that's not true.
Okay, Matt and I were never cool to begin with.
But I'm definitely not cooler today than I was back then. Mm-hmm. Actually, that also might not be true. You know what? I might have aged better than I lived as a teenager. I don't know myself very well, obviously. Thank you for refuting that. Thanks for deciding me.
So supportive.
No, Matt, you're great. You just sit there in your silence. All right.
I mean, I'm no better. I'm not. I don't know who the requisite cool character would be.
Was there? Oh, we didn't bring up. We skipped over, and by we, I know it's my fault because I'm kind of steering the ship. We skipped over the Mateo and Ice storyline. We referenced a few things with it, but it kind of felt like every single season in the finale they ended with a little bit more of a serious moment, you know, like the tornado thing, and they had the kiss, but then like it ends with them surveying the damage, and then the ice raid, it ends with Mateo in the back of the ice vehicle and as it's pulling away, and like they like to do these, here's a sad shot for you, and now season's done. Okay.
Yeah. I did like that moment though, because it brought some seriousness and some grounding to Mateo, who is most likely more of the time, more often than not, like a comic relief, like trying too hard character.
Yeah, and that, you know, that I don't want to say this show ever got like too political, but I would probably say that's maybe the most political it got, because it does talk about real things, like obviously the COVID season. It talks about very real things, but it pokes fun at them while still having its own thing that it says, and it never does so in a way that's, to me, off-putting. Mm-hmm. But I did think that the ice storyline was probably the one where they drew the biggest line in the sand of where they landed on it, and what they were saying.
But also, to be fair, I think it's safe to say everyone except for Glenn probably votes Democrat in that show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No. Not ever. Like I'm thinking Marcus doesn't. I would think I think there's a number of like background more that wouldn't.
Maybe,
you know,
Marcus
I could
would
actually even see Cheyenne not voting that.
Like So did the
I can see
majority
Cheyenne
do.
not voting, and I can
Not
see
voting, period. But I could
I
also
could-
see her voting Republican.
True, I could see that. I could see. You said Marcus voting third party or voting for Kanye.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah,
I mean, Justine would too, but she'd think it would be like a joke. Sandra wouldn't know how to fill it out right. She would always vote for the wrong person accidentally. And then she'd realize what it was, but then it'd be too late. And then you should just submit the vote anyway.
yeah. True, yeah. And Jerry would be like, Sandra, who should I vote for?
Yep.
Okay.
He's such a mindless person.
He's not even a character. To be honest, Jerry's a prop.
He really is. He's like a side piece over there.
If you ever mess with my marriage again, I will not like it. Jerry, calm down.
We're like, that's the most calm he's ever been.
I mean, the guy accepted the results of a coin toss.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
But also, when he said that quote, that I will not wasn't he wearing the Krabby shirt?
Yeah, he
There's a
was.
shirt with a crab, and whoever's crabby has to wear the Krabby shirt.
It was he came into the store when he heard, because it was Jonah was flirting with Jonah was working the register with Sandra, and Jonah was quote unquote flirting with the people that came through, and then he's like, it's just called being nice, and then trying to get Sandra to do it too, but she obviously went the wrong way, and then she felt guilty about it and had to call Jerry.
Yeah.
And so he has to come to the store to tell him off, and then it's like, can you bring me home some of those magazines? Thank you. And then leaves.
And the fact that Garrett and Jerry bonded for that episode with the video games was just crazy to me. Like, I never imagined those two would ever hang out. Ever.
No, I that was endearing. That was endearing to
It was
see.
very sweet, though.
Yeah.
And then when Sandra walks in and sees she has this beaming smile,
I
just
know.
backs out and closes the door and lets them keep hanging out.
It's really
My husband has a buddy. It was nice to see Sandra happy, even though she was sad and sometimes annoying in the early seasons.
She reminded me of Eeyore.
Yeah, I can see that.
Of who?
Beginning Eeyore.
Oh, Eeyore. I heard Bjorn, which I'm like,
Who that
why?
is?
I don't. Okay, so is Bjorn a good buddy of yours, or what?
Also, so a weird thing. Talking about the tornado, where for an episode, they all thought that Brett died. Just as we're recording this, within the past week, the actor who played Brett actually did die now.
Is that episode called Brett is Dead or something like that? There's one something like that.
So,
Yeah.
and they could have gotten rid of Brett. Brett is one of the characters like Brett and Elias who never spoke, but they were just basically featured background, who got names but never spoke.
Yes.
And that tornado episode was intense. I mean, you got to see how everyone reacted to
A disaster like
disaster, but also the store got ripped apart.
that. Yeah.
And then they kept finding dead bodies. So there's that.
Yeah.
Matt,
And feet.
did you catch at the end they finally revealed
Yeah.
who was the killer? Did you catch that?
Isaac?
Or, no, it was
No.
Elias. I mean.
Elias.
Elias.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I'm like, they found who it was. Well, they don't find it, but you find out who it is.
I didn't remember that, but yeah, she got really excited when she saw that.
Yes.
He's like calmly putting a foot on the shelf.
I'm glad they didn't leave that unsolved. Be like, oh, they never catch it. You never find out who it is. Yes.
Yep.
He's done with
Justin
Yep.
Spitzer learned his lesson with the Scranton Strangler.
it.
And,
Yep. Sabrina doesn't like when things don't get resolved, so she's gonna
No.
love Lost when we watch that.
Yeah, everything does. Okay, honestly, everything does get resolved and lost, except for maybe why they wanted Walt.
Yeah, well, we did an episode about our explanations. That's if I go any farther, we're gonna go on a 20-minute tangent. So I'm just gonna leave that one be for now.
I've told you. Oh, so I'm watching through at the same time a chronological version of Lost.
I want to do that sometime too.
It's really cool. I'm in the 90s right now, but the weirdest part is like when they're doing the jump through time. Sorry, I don't want to ruin stuff, but
Yeah, I've never seen it. It's fine.
when they're doing a certain point of jumping through time, I've already said that. So, but then you're like, oh, they're in mid conversation at this spot. I can't remember exactly what they're saying right before this, but here they are. Ta-da!
Yeah. No, I know. I mean, at the beginning of season 5 really is that would be rough to watch chronologically.
Yeah. But well, I'm made it through all the 70s stuff. I'm in the 90s, not too far away from like what I just watched was like Sun and Jin's marriage in flashbacks, which they got married because they start off married. So I didn't ruin anything on that one.
Good job.
She doesn't even know there are characters named Sun and Jin.
Nope. So you're definitely not ruining anything.
Where are you at in the show?
We haven't started yet. We're
No.
watching Squid Game right now.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you.
No,
Well, then
No.
we're good.
we're going to watch Lost, but we're waiting till we can watch it more consistently because right now with our schedules we can't watch as fast, and I want to be able to go through Lost faster when we watch it together with her.
Yeah, you don't want her to be confused.
Yeah.
All right. So. They lost. Gotcha. All right. Oh, I think that was it for arcs. Why did I feel like there's one that we didn't have on here that I wanted to say something about? I can't remember.
Well, we did briefly mention Dina and Garrett, and I was thinking about it. If at the end, if Jonah and Amy are Jim and Pam, Dina and Garrett are Dwight and Angela.
Oh yeah.
Does that make Garrett Angela?
By default.
Yeah.
Garrett has the personality of an Oscar.
I was going to say
mixed with Daryl. Oscar and Daryl together.
I was going to say Stanley even too. But no, Daryl and Stanley.
There you go.
He's got the I don't want to work of Stanley with the general coolness of Daryl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the black people.
He's the black people. Way to put all the black people together. Great job. That was actually another thing. Okay, we're so qualified as us three white people to talk about this. That was the other thing I really liked about that episode with him is that when everything was going on in 2020 and like hearing from some of my friends who are black, I really appreciated like that in that episode that even all the black people in it, they had different vantage points, and I feel like that wasn't talked about as much in the bigger realm of the conversation and culture as it was with like some of my closer friends of like you ask like one black person how they feel about things, you're gonna get an obviously different answer than any other person, and so to be like, no, this is the one answer, this is how all black people feel about this, and this is how all black people like, I really appreciated that they had just all these different vantage points that Garrett was trying to process through and trying to be everything for everyone in that episode. I thought that was a good touch and a good way to handle it.
That was good. And also Garrett, the good thing to be inclusive with Garrett, him being in a wheelchair, and they rarely mention it and they never explain why. It's just not, it's like, it's not needed. It's just part of who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I always thought they were going to eventually explain it, but they never, but they showed even the flashback when he got hired and he was younger, he was still in the chair. So we still don't know if he was born paralyzed or if he got in an accident or something.
Well, it's not Lost. They're not going to explain everything.
Yeah. We don't get okay, I was going to say why Locke was in the wheelchair, but I realized I shouldn't say that to her.
Correct.
I don't forget it by the time we watch it.
She really would.
Do you know, was there any like public pushback? Because I know sometimes when you have a character who the actor is able-bodied and they're playing a character with a handicap, that there can be a pushback. Was there any sort of pushback on Superstore with that?
Not that I remember, but I mean there may have been, because it's weird you mention that, because I know that Glee got some heat for the same thing.
And then that movie with Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart, I think it was called The Upside.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
He played a paraplegic, Bryan Cranston did, and like, should get a real paraplegic actor. And I'm like, I don't think I'm sorry, I don't think there are that many paraplegic actors out there, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm sure. I just think I'm sure there were people who were annoyed by it or offended by it, but I don't remember it being a huge controversy.
Yeah, I don't. But maybe also, unfortunately, that speaks to Superstore's popularity.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah.
For instance, like I know that I think Simpsons and Family Guy have both recast all of their black characters to be voiced by black actors.
Oh.
There's one character who, I think it was Smithers, that in like the first season he was black, and then like they made him more yellow skinned, which was the equivalent of white for the Simpsons.
Yeah.
If we're being fair.
Yeah.
All the jaundiced people of Springfield.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny, Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy, said in one of his specials, told the story about how they approached him to be the voice. He was the voice of Speedy Gonzales in the Space Jam reboot.
Yep.
And he kind of realized they basically just offered it to him. I mean, and granted, he's known for doing voices, but he's like, "Do you need to know if I can do the voice?" And he eventually called him out. He's like, "Oh, you need a brown person, don't you?" That's his words, not mine. So
How
that you
dare you? I'm so offended.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, I see. You need an actual Hispanic person so that people can't get mad." And they're like, "Yeah, basically."
You're not wrong.
I see, and I like people calling them out too. It's like, because they had that as I think it was Amy's promotion, where it was all the Hispanic women, and like, you guys just realized you didn't have a Hispanic woman, did you? And then she's like, but if that also helps me get the job more, who am I to balk at this?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like people aren't dumb when it comes to hires like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like hopefully, like they don't feel like gypped because you're like, do you really feel like I'm qualified, or is it just because of the color of my skin? I know that that's a real conversation that can happen out there, but again, us white people, we're so qualified to talk about this.
No one better.
No one better.
I was just gonna think, like, have we even had a black person on this podcast? But we have had Terrence.
We've had Terrence. So we've got it. We've got our quota of one.
Out of almost 200 episodes, we've had 5 of them with Terrence.
Hey, you got your coverage bases. You're fine. You got your bases covered. There we go.
Covers based, yeah.
Coverage based.
We've been trying to get another one who's a Star Trek fan, but we just haven't gotten them on yet.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about Star Trek, probably because I've never seen Star Trek, so I'd have to do a lot of research.
That's racist. How dare you?
Racist to who?
You know, Star Trek's like pizza. White people like Star Trek. Black people like Star Trek. Black people like Star Trek? They do, just so you know. Star Trek.
I don't know where to go with this borderline.
I know. Racist. Like, I don't think I should comment on this.
Okay, so we're watching through.
If there's an episode that gets us canceled, it's this one.
Oh, really? It's not the Squid Game when I did the impression of Mr. 100.
You know what? If there's an episode that gets us canceled, it's all of them.
Or
all of them.
I think the message is it's probably me saying something dumb that would get us canceled.
Just like this. Brian, did you edit something in there, or did you just leave it blank?
You'll never know unless you actually listen to the episode.
Stay tuned.
Freaking AI. All right. Well, we've got to talk about what was the best episode? What was your favorite Superstore episode?
For me, I have to go with early on, I think season 1 or 2, when they were locked in the store, the overnighter, because it kind of got them to bond with each other and kind of like take a break, and they show off, like Cheyenne showed off her dance skill, the kind of like a talent show kind of thing. And it was just a really cool moment. I like when they break from the pattern of they're in the setting of the store, but the store is not open and functioning.
Yeah.
Do what they want. I I had a lot of moments I really liked in the show, but I think the tornado episode was one of my favorites just because it kind of started that relationship with Amy and Jonah rolling just slightly, because they always had that tension in the beginning, and then that kind of just like, oh, hey, they're actually going to do something with this. And just the fact that like, oh, Brett's missing. Oh, there's a foot. All these people, what are they going to do with the store? And it just created this different storyline leading into the next season. And I just thought that was a really good break.
Yeah, it's really good, like you guys said, the ones where they just do something out of the ordinary. Like Blizzard was another version of that, except for it was kind of like the anti. And they even said that in the Comic-Con. I don't know if you guys watched the Comic-Con episode that they aired at the beginning of season 5.
Yeah, we
Yep.
Yeah, they kind of used that as like it was the antithesis of that first all locked in together in the store, but where now they're like really annoyed at each other and everyone's getting under each other's skin. It's a little bit of a cop out, but I think honestly my favorite one might be the finale. I think that they ended it really well. I thought like Garrett's final announcement was really good writing. And
Yes.
was such a great like capstone on the series. And it's, you know, it's not one of those where it's a show that's going to make you cry that much, but I definitely felt the emotions of him kind of closing out and like closing this season of their lives as they're going to something else. And that's something that's touching. Like whenever you can highlight in your life a clear demarcation of one season ending and you're going into a new one, that touches me. And so it was impactful to see them all together as a family have that.
Yeah, I love the montage, like not just the big party where you see everybody, also randomly Carol and Sandra are just playing cornhole together.
Yep, Carol's there. That was again like, okay, fine, you're taking me out of this.
But like
before, I'm sorry, hold on to your thought, because also with that moment, the other thing that took me out of it is Garrett goes to like bite on his burger or whatever and takes the biggest fake bite you will ever see and just sucked me out of the moment. I'm like, you guys don't have a better take than that?
I can't say I noticed that. I'll have to go back to that.
There you go. Now you got homework.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go back. I pray you don't lose your train of thought.
No, it's just also showing like Sturgis, Glenn opening up the hardware store with Mateo and Cheyenne, and showing that Amy and Jonah had another kid, and showing back at the store like the B team people running the store. It was like Marcus, Justine, and I think Saeed were there.
Dina being the manager of that.
Yeah.
The what center, refinement center, or whatever it was?
Fulfillment center.
Fulfillment.
Yeah, and okay, the biggest thing that gets me teared up is TV show finales, because you've been following these characters for so long, and not only is it the last thing, but you get to see, like you said, the finale of what gets like endings of shows get to me.
Yeah. So they landed the dismount, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had like a list of like great quotes, because this show had all these really funny moments, but it just one watch through isn't enough to capture all these. But I just found myself laughing at some of the absurdity and some of the moments that they'd have so much. A lot of break room moments. Like let's have a discussion about this, and like bring out a whiteboard, or like kind of their back and forth where it was just like it devolves into insanity. I would always love those moments.
A lot of shows have this version. Like the Superstore had the break room meetings. The Office had the conference room meetings.
Yep.
Gilmore Girls had the town meetings. Anytime you have that kind of version, it's always you're mining for gold, and you get all your characters in there with someone running some sort, and then you can always have everyone derailing what's supposed to be on the agenda. It's always like, and a great moment is, I don't remember what the whole onus of it was, but Glenn suddenly singing that song that ends with "and cry, Ezekiel, cry," and like trying to like, everyone, you know the words, and then he's like singing this ridiculous like religious folk song, and it always ends with "and cry, Ezekiel, cry," and it was one of my favorite moments.
I love Glenn. He is one of my favorites.
We just watched towards the end when Garrett said like, well, you know, some people don't believe in heaven. And Glenn just
Well, because the company was trying to get rid of them, saying "Have a blessed day" or
Have a
"Have
good-
a
Heavenly
heavenly day,"
yeah.
and he's just like, "Why would you get rid of that?
Yeah.
Why?"
Because some people don't believe in heaven. And you can see
He just stares.
like short circuited, and he's just like, that was erased from my memory. Like he didn't say it, but he's like,
That's not possible.
my brain cannot comprehend that sentence.
And
And
they're just like, you're fine. You can keep saying it.
And then the all of his emails come back from the mailer demon. Like, a demon's taken over his email. Like that's a really good joke to pair with the whole taking away Heavenly Day and like making him paranoid that all of the God stuff is getting taken out and it's just taken over by evil.
Oh, remember when he had the key fob for the carts,
Oh, it's following him.
and he thought the carts were
Yes.
were after him?
Honestly, I'd be a little freaked out too if I didn't know that.
Or when someone says something about like you're working for Satan, and Glenn's like, Satan is the last person I would work for. The indignance in his voice, how mad he was.
Ugh.
Or when that, who was it? Who came into the store and he like, oh, the CEO.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
bought it? He changed his hair. And like, it was awful. And Cheyenne's like, oh, I like your hair. I know, it's horrendous.
What was it, like almost a flock of seagulls type?
Yeah. And the runner of Glenn being obsessed with juice.
Yes. Like, how can you drink that much juice? That's insane.
Speaking of running gags, like, okay, so, we have the missed feet being found all over. We have the raccoons that apparently are based off of, like, real raccoons had gotten onto the set, so then they just write in that, like, there's raccoons all over the Superstore, all over this Cloud9. Were there other, like, running gags that we had that we didn't?
Well, real quick, we're gonna go back there. Right? So a few, like maybe 5 years ago, so it wasn't a rewatch podcast, but it was just like a general podcast that Joel McHale and Ken Jeong, both from Community, had. Mm-hmm. And they, at one point, they were talking about how like the Community prop room actually had like either a raccoon or a possum that was just living in there. They couldn't get rid of it. And they just accepted that, like, okay, they just have a raccoon in their prop room. And they said, meanwhile, over on the set of New Girl, because of Zooey Deschanel's dust allergy, everything had to be like professionally cleaned and pristine, and we had a raccoon. It's like, I feel like that fits for those shows.
Fitting.
But yeah, so going back, running gags, I know I'm, like you said earlier, all the different customers doing like the unspoken just customer transition moments is one of the best ones.
Yeah. I like Marcus trying to start chants.
Oh, yeah.
No one ever. You guys are the worst.
Remember in the beginning of the first season or so, like he kept trying to make this his boy group.
Oh yeah.
Like he would try to get Garrett and Jonah all in his boy group. Let's go hang out. Like, no, Marcus, nobody wants to hang out with you. I'm sorry. He tried so hard.
And during the COVID, Amy's like, Marcus tested positive, so if anyone was hanging out with Jonah or anyone who was hanging out with Marcus, you need to leave. And no one leaves. Yeah, that's what I thought. I just had one too. Oh, Glenn's car. Glenn's car constantly getting ruined.
Well, I never know what's going on with Glenn's car. I never noticed this one.
It always got damaged.
There was like 3 or 4 different times when like Glenn's car would be the one that would get smashed or totaled. It happened at least 3 times in the series. It was always.
That's right.
Yeah.
When they put up the fake prop picture over it, and then it ends up getting it.
Mm-hmm.
The fake. I don't know if that we count that. I'm sure we can count this, but Garrett, like him not understanding basic stuff, pretty much, and like making people explain it, like 9/11. What's 9/11? You don't know?
But you didn't hear? But I told her a terrible joke. There's the old joke, why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. Well, I was 10 afraid. It was right in the middle of 9/11.
No, 6. You know why 7 was afraid of 6?
Why is that?
No. I'm sorry. I had it right the first time. Scratch that. Act like I didn't do that. Why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7 was a registered 6 offender.
Oh my god. That's so bad.
In the last 15 seconds, we had a 9/11 joke and a sex offender joke.
Okay, you gotta split those up.
You gotta space those suckers out. You can't throw them all in at once.
Maybe it's both of us that's gonna get us canceled.
Sabrina, you got the keys to this now. We're out. You're in.
Go.
Have fun. Until next time.
Only a matter of time before she says something to.
I can't believe it.
Just wait, it'll be brilliant. Just wait.
It'll be brilliant. You'll be offended, but it's a brilliant offense. You'll love it.
Exactly.
I do think the show is underrated. Like, I feel like the humor is on par with the shows that got way more popularity.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that maybe it's like in the 2010s, there's not like there was a ton of TV, whereas like in the early 2000s, you had, The Office and 30 Rock and Parks and Rec and Community. It was a lot of shows all at the same time, where there's not a lot of like great touchstone TV in the 2010s. Maybe the Goldbergs.
Yeah. I'd put this show in the category right below, like a lot of the Mike Schur shows. It's not as good as Office and Parks and Rec, but it's as good as at least like Schitt's Creek. I think it might be as good as Brooklyn Nine-Nine, maybe just a little bit below it, but it's knocking on the door of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I can't compare it to The Good Place, because Good Place also does a really good job of blending serious stuff too, and some really nice character moments, where this is a lot more absurdity. But like that's why I put it with Schitt's Creek, because it's better than Schitt's Creek, but Schitt's Creek is that same sort of absurd sort of comedy. And absurd comedies are good if you do absurdity right, and I feel like this show more often than not does the absurdity right.
Yeah. Talk about absurdity. Could you imagine Jason Mendoza teaming up with Bo?
No, that's a hate crime, I think.
That's not what a hate crime is.
What's a hate crime? I don't know what that is.
You
haven't heard?
You were supposed to say, "Well, I hated it."
Look, I can quote my own thing. All right, Dad. I don't need to quote what you make me quote.
Sure,
all right,
you're the coolest.
There you go. Well, that's gonna do it. Let's get into trivia, because I don't think there's anything else about the Superstore. Hey, quick question: which is a better show, Superstore or Chuck?
I'll say Superstore, but Chuck was really good too.
Yeah.
Almost different categories, because
they are definitely different categories. Chuck is funny, but it's not a comedy specifically. It's an action comedy, but very much more plot-driven.
The store stuff of Chuck is in the same category as this. That's like a third of the show, probably.
Yeah. This store stuff is better than the store stuff of Chuck. Chuck does a good job of kind of highlighting some of the same stupidity of the human behavior. But I think this show excels at that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. Well, like I said, we're in trivia, so we're going to jump back 2 weeks. If you listened 2 weeks ago, we talked about Survivor Pearl Islands, the pirate season with Rupert and Johnny Fairplay. And Brian, because I apparently failed at how I asked the question, I'll let you ask the question.
Well, you were right. You just worded it wrong, because you said Pearl Islands was one of 2 seasons that is represented in every All-Star season, which technically is incorrect, but it is correct that the Pearl Islands and one other season are both represented in every season that is entirely made up of returning players. So, like, there are seasons where they bring in half new players and half returning players. They're not both represented in all of those, but All-Stars, Game Changers, Second Chance, blah blah. If the entire cast is made up of returning players, there's both Pearl Islands, and the other one, the answer is season 2, the Australian Outback.
Sabrina just yawned as you were describing all of that.
It was a lot of information.
So maybe that's why I phrased it the way I did, Brian. I didn't want to put asleep our audience.
But the way you said it was wrong.
The way you said it was wrong. It was technically incorrect. No one cares.
Add that to the list.
Well, mine is technically correct. The best kind of correct.
There you go.
Anyway, so speaking of Survivor, even though we're talking about Superstore, our trivia is on both. One of the cast members of Superstore is married to a 2-time Survivor player. So who is that?
Jeff Probst.
Yes. Jeff Probst, the cast member on Superstore.
Wow, Glenn, you're really handy. It's pronounced Hansy. All right. Well, on that fun, weird quote, I hope you enjoyed this. And if you got offended, write our complaint department. Sabrina, what's your email?
Yeah, no.
It's like so many.
I will defer to you.
Matt, I don't care enough. All right. Well, until next time, I'm Matt.
I'm Brian.
I'm Sabrina.
And we're reminding you to stay tuned and keep watching.